Hello everybody, my name is Neil Bakiev and I'm the founder of my website, which is IELTSwheel.com. And today we will be focusing on the speaking section of the IELTS exam. More specifically, we'll be focusing on part 3, which is discussion and analysis. So here the examiner expects you to discuss, analyze, compare and contrast data, okay? And you need to use coherence and cohesion, advanced vocabulary and perfect grammar, okay, in order to get a high score. So the first question is, what do you think are the advantages of buying things from shops rather than markets? Okay. Now, how can we answer this question? Something like, let's consider two major benefits behind this trend. Okay, so what do you think are the advantages of buying things from shops rather than markets? Or we're talking about this trend, okay, something that has become very, very popular with people. So therefore, let's consider two major benefits. So the examiner will clearly understand that I'm going to talk about two benefits, okay? And it will affect my coherence and cohesion here. And then behind this trend, very specific vocabulary here. Okay, so I can just say something like, firstly, so I'm talking about the first benefit. Firstly, those who purchase items from shops receive a higher quality service than those, or even than that, probably, than that in markets. Okay, so firstly, which means the first reason is, okay, so those who purchase items, okay, so I'm using specific vocabulary here, which means buy things, basically, from shops receive a higher quality service. So higher, the highest, I'm using a comparative grammar here, quality service, and this whole phrase is a great vocabulary. Then that in markets, in this case that, I'm using a reference here, so I don't want to say quality two times, and therefore I'm referring back, okay, and this one is a coherence and cohesion. And then in markets, so rather than markets, you see that I need to compare both. That's my job, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Alright, now let's move on. Now I just want to provide one specific example. I can say something like, for example, okay, remember, every examiner really likes students to use, the first conditional, the second conditional, so try to use conditionals using if as often as you can. So if a customer is keen to buy clothes in their, let's say, warehouse in like my city, in Verkagel, and then they can ask for shopping advice from a skilled assistant. Okay, so here I'm using for example, okay, so it's a linking device, and then if a customer is keen to, so remember, after if you must use only the present simple. You can say if a customer will be keen, okay, only if a customer is keen. Is keen to means really wants to, okay, it's a good vocabulary. Is keen to buy clothes in the warehouse in Verkagel, they. Okay, so look at this carefully. I say a customer, which means he or she, and then I say they, because we don't know for sure whether this customer is a man and a woman, and therefore it's important to use a they in this case. Okay, just to avoid sexism, it's called. Ask, or can ask. Okay, I'm using a modal verb here, and then ask for shopping advice. It's a very good vocabulary here. Okay, and then from whom? A skilled assistant. So do you see the link between this sentence and the previous sentence? Before I said that firstly, those who purchase items from shops, in this case shop is the warehouse in Verkagel, receive a higher quality service. Now where is the service? They can ask for shopping advice from a skilled assistant. You see that? I'm creating a very strong connection between my sentences, and that's how I can earn a great mark for coherence and cohesion. Okay, and now I want to be more specific here. I can say something like this employee will help them, okay, to choose the right size and then color, okay, and style, as there is a wide range of clothes. Perfect. So this employee, I'm referring back to the previous statement. Okay, so this is coherence, cohesion. Before I said a skilled assistant, and we know what kind of person we're talking about, and therefore this employee, I'm referring back to this skilled assistant. Okay, I'm using the future simple here, will help, okay, to choose the right size, color, and style. All of these words fall into the category of shopping. Okay, good vocabulary here. And then as, which means because. Okay, so again, it's a great linking device. There is, there are, it's grammar. And then a wide range of, which means different. Okay, but it's more advanced vocabulary here. And then close. Okay, now I would like to talk about the other option. I'm talking about right now, I want to talk about the other kind of market where this service is not available. And how can I do it? How can I compare? Look at this carefully. This option, however, is limited in second-hand shops. Okay, as the clothes offered there are likely to have only one size and one color. Perfect. So this option, we know what kind of option we're talking about. We're talking about an excellent service. So I'm referring back to the previous statement. Okay, again, it's impacting my coherence and cohesion. However, it's a good linking device. Again, is limited. I'm using the passive voice here. Okay, so I'm using the passive voice in second-hand shops as, again, a great linking device. The clothes offered, okay, it's called reduced relative clause here, are likely to, which means might, okay, it's good grammar here, have only one size and one color. So I've already explained this part. That's good. Now I can also provide one more reason, okay, because I said firstly. Now I want to talk about the second reason. I can just say something like secondly, shop, let's say customers can pay, and I'm using the structure both with cash and by a debit card. Okay, and again I'm trying to compare it, which is not always possible at markets. Okay, cool. So secondly, okay, again it's a great linking device. Okay. Shop customers can pay both and, good grammar here. Okay. Here, remember this collocation, both pay with cash. The examiner will pay close attention to this. Okay, so it's all about vocabulary. And then also pay by a debit card. Okay. And then here, which is not always possible at markets. I'm using extra information. I'm using a non-defining relative clause, which is really perfect. Okay. And it affects coherence and cohesion, because here I'm referring back to the the other option. And I want to explain why. I can say something like most sales people there accept only cash. And it's a very, very good collocation, accept only cash, which means take only cash. Good. So once again, look at this question. What do you think are the advantages, right? Advantages, plural. So we have already described two advantages here of buying things from shops rather than markets. And this part is also very, very, very critical and important here, because the examiner wants you to compare all the time, okay, throughout the whole answer. And that's what I've done here. Perfect. Now let's just get down to the next question quickly. So how does advertising influence what people choose to buy? Is this true for everyone? Okay, again, it's a very it's a very complex question which requires an in-depth analysis, and I'll show you how to do it. So we can start something like, there are two major effects of advertising on customers. Okay, so this is my topic sentence, and I'm using there is. There are, it's good grammar, two major effects. Okay, so very, very good collocation here of advertising on customers. Remember, effect on somebody. Okay, so I'm using the right preposition here. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about the first one. I can just write something like, firstly, customers wish to purchase, okay, those products which are let's say highly promoted by celebrities, such as the best football players, movie stars, and world famous singers. Okay, now let's look at the question again. How does advertising influence what people choose to buy? Okay, so I'm using a linking device. Firstly, okay, customers wish to purchase. It's a specific word. Okay, so those products which are highly promoted by. It's a very good collocation by celebrities, okay? And then what kind of celebrities? The best football players, good, better, the best, good grammar. Football players, movie stars, and world famous singers. Excellent vocabulary. Okay, now I want to explain a little bit more. I can just say that something like they are paid massive amounts of money to promote products to their fans and the general public. Okay, cool. So they are, in this case, they. Who are they? We know who we're talking about, so I'm referring back to the previous statement, which means we're talking about celebrities, players, movie stars, and world famous singers. They. Okay, cool. Next, are paid. Okay, the passive voice. Massive amounts of money. Very, very good collocation. To promote products. Very good collocation. To their fans. That's good. The examiner will definitely love it. And the general public. Perfect. The general public means all people, okay? Both children and adults, young people, as well as elderly people. Okay, cool. So it means the general public. Okay, and next. Now, I said firstly, and I want to provide the second reason. I will just say something like secondly. Secondly, some ads claim that the more, let's see, claim that the more items customers acquire, and then the more noticeable discounts they get. Perfect. So firstly, secondly, okay, good. Some ads, okay, before those advertising. Now I have paraphrased the word ads, which means advertisements. Claim that, which means say that. The more, okay, so very good grammar. The more items, remember, not things, but items, customers acquire, good vocabulary, which means get, the more noticeable discounts. That's a very, very good phrase, which means obvious, okay, apparent discounts they get. That's really cool. Now I'm going to use the next sentence. I'll say something like, although customers don't need to purchase several items at the same time, they get trapped by this promotional campaign as they expect campaign okay, and then why? As they expect to get massive discounts. Okay, here we go. The examiner really wants you to use complex sentences using although, even though, despite the fact that, okay, so use these words. Customers don't need to, okay, good grammar also, purchase several items at the same time, they get trapped by. It's a very good collocation, okay, which means they don't want to, but they get trapped by this promotional campaign. Okay, I have paraphrased the word advertising by promotional campaign as, okay, so it's a good linking device. They expect to get massive discounts. Very, very good collocation here. All right, and I'm going to use one more sentence probably. I'll just say something like, despite the fact that the vast majority of people are driven to buy, let's say, widely advertised products, some individuals avoid watching or listening to advertisements, okay, and therefore aren't affected by them. Cool. So again, I'm using complex structure despite the fact that, and we need to use two clauses here. This is the first clause, which is a dependent clause, and this one is an independent clause. Okay, so despite the fact that, it's let's just remove it. It's grammar, so it's grammar. So I'll just remove this part, and this one is grammar. Cool. Next, the vast majority of, which basically means most people, more than 50%. Next, are driven to, it's a good grammar, so drive, drove, driven, which means are encouraged to. Again, I'm using good collocation here, widely advertised products. Now, instead of saying people, it's better to say individuals. Some individuals avoid. Remember, after avoid, we must use ing and ing always. Okay, so avoid watching or listening to always. And here, and therefore, which means and that's why. Okay, so it's a great linking device here. Aren't affected. I'm using the passive voice here. By them, in this case. Them means advertisements. So what is it? It's referencing. I'm referring back. Now let's look at the question again. How does advertising influence what people choose to buy? And I've already explained this everything in detail. I've provided two reasons, and I said that some people don't watch and therefore they're not affected. Is this true for everyone? I said no, it's not true for everyone, because those who don't watch television or listen to advertisements, okay, they are not affected. I have answered both of these questions, and I've used coherence and cohesion, vocabulary and grammar here. Perfect. All right, and we've got one more question for today. The question is, do you think that any recent changes in the way people live have affected general shopping habits? Why is this? Wow, this question is pretty complex, right? And I'll show you exactly how to answer this question. So you should say, like, let's say, yes, I do. So the question is, do you think? The answer is yes, I do, or no, I don't. Give a very straight a very direct answer. Yes, I do, or no, I don't. That's what the examiner wants you to do. Okay, the first change is the manner in which, let's say, in which customers purchase products. Cool. So, do you think that any recent changes? And I'll just say yes, and then the first change is. So what is it? It's coherence, right? And cohesion. I'm using a linking device. And then the manner in which, the expression the manner in which means basically how customers, so it's advanced vocabulary, purchase products, which means buy products. Okay, now let's go on. As let's say most people are able to access the internet, okay, they tend to buy items online. Okay, and have them delivered okay, to their houses. That's it. So as, which means because something, that's why there is something else. Okay, so it's a good linking device. Most people are able to, it's a good grammar, which means can. Next, access the internet. It's a very good collocation. They tend to buy, which means they usually buy items, again, not things, online, and have them delivered. Good grammar. You can say have them delivered or get them delivered, which means to ask somebody to deliver these products to them. Okay, very complex grammar here. Let's continue. Thus, they can save not only time on their trips, let's say to malls, and let's say explore items on shelves, but also save money, okay, as one can choose the best brand at the lowest price on the internet. Here we go. Thus means that's why. Okay, thus, it's a good linking device. They can save here not only, okay, but also. Very good grammar. Remember, save time on something, right? To malls and explore items. Very good collocation. On shelves, but also save money. In this case, as means again because. One means a person can choose. Okay, good grammar. The best brand. Good, better, the best. The superlative here. Again, low, lower, the lowest. Good grammar. On the internet, right? Not in, but on, and then always the internet. It's very important. Okay, cool. Let's move on. So I've just spoken about the first change. Now I need to focus on the second change. So how can I do that? Something like the second change. The second change would be imitating the clothing, let's say style, okay, of whom? Of celebrities. Okay, so the second change, okay, it's a good linking device. Would be, not is, but would be. Okay, why? Because you're not really sure. So when you're not really sure, which means like, well, perhaps, probably, so would be, and then use ing form, imitating, and this word is very good also. Imitating means copying the clothing style. That's a very good collocation of celebrities. Good word. Okay, So the question is, do you think that any recent changes in the way people live have affected general shopping habits? And I'm talking about this potential change. Now I want to be more specific. I might just say something like, for example, if a movie star always, let's say, wears black clothes, shoes, and a hat, and then his fans, we can also say, or her fans, tend to follow his or her footsteps. And wear only black clothing as well. Perfect. So for example, it's a very good linking device, so coherence and cohesion. Okay, again, I'm using if something, then something. If a movie star wears, not will wear, only wears, the present simple. Okay, shoes and hat, very, very good vocabulary here. Okay, then his or her fans, good vocabulary. Tend to, which means usually, and here follow his footsteps, which means do the same. And wear only black clothing as well. As well means too. Okay, perfect. As you can see, do you think that any recent changes, right, plural, so for the first change and the second change, and here I have explained everything in detail. Why is this? Okay, the examiner wants to know why. You have to explain, not only to mention something, but to explain. The examiner wants to see your analysis. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching and analyzing this video lesson. I know that answering questions in part 3 might be a bit challenging, but hopefully you've learned how to use, the correct coherence and cohesion, vocabulary and grammar, and I hope that this lesson will help you to increase your overall band. Thank you for watching and analyzing this video.